7 o'clock. We're going to just open with the public hearing first, and then we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance and our others as we start our other agenda. But tonight we're opening at 7 with the public hearing on the proposed 24-25 budget.
Yeah, there's two things later on in the meeting that we'll certify as part of the certified budget. First, of the maximum we can spend in all funds from July 1st, 2024 till June 30, 2025. Total expenditures of $45,703,000. The second is the property tax rate for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, and that is the total tax rate of $9.97 for the former Algona district, $9.63 for the former Laverne district, and $11.31 for the former Titicaca.
Anybody have any questions? There's a public hearing. Anybody welcome to speak here also? All right, hearing none then, we will close the public hearing. We've got the time, and we do need a motion then for adjournment.
So moved.
Thanks, Jay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we are adjourned from the public hearing. We'll then get into our regular agenda to start. We'll start, if everybody will stand, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. As we go through our agenda tonight, please remember our vision and our missions and our core values as we go ahead and make decisions throughout the evening. We'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, so hearing of delegations, I see none, nothing for communication to the board. So we need a motion to approve the agenda, but we are going to move 7 and 8 around so we can have the administrative tag showcase before the superintendent's report. So if everybody's okay with that, I need a motion then for approve the agenda.
Do a motion to approve the agenda?
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Britt. Motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. You should have received consent items with your packet. I hope you've had a chance to look through them. If you have any questions, and we also have a little separate page that's in front of you. So, Joe or anybody's comments?
Finances, our routine this month, we continue to have our revenues exceeding our expenses by about $700,000 or so. We know that gap will close when we get to the summer months and pay out all of the salaries for the summer, but still look very good for the year to date.
What's the furniture? Are they remodeling some classrooms or?
Not remodeling, but there's always a few classrooms every year that we get new desks or tables or for. We did a number of middle school last year. There's some elementary ones I think that Jeff's working with today. He works directly with the principals and the teachers to get them what will work in their room, rather than just something in general.
Any other further questions? All right, hearing none, need a motion then to approve consent items.
So moved.
Thanks, Todd. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent items approved. Now we're going to go into, we got a lot of general business we do usually. This is the fun part of the meeting. We get to have a presentation, and we have the tag showcase tonight.
So I'm just going to introduce the project here first. So our students in 3rd and 4th grade tag have been working on a project where they're researching someone who is influential to them, someone famous. And I have 2 of my 3rd graders. And just to give you an idea of this project, we've been spending a really long time on this, learning how to research, summarize our notes, turning our notes into writing, and then editing our writing to make it sound more conversational and less like fact, fact, fact. And then our presentation skills as well. So my kids are going to be showing you our living wax museum, if you will. And we've got some famous people in the house today that are going to talk with you and share a little bit about their lives. So Pablo Picasso is up first. Put it on here, I guess.
Perfect.
walls covered in my works. I even created a new style of art called Cubism. I'll talk about Cubism more later. My father's name was Don Jose. My first wife, Ogla, died in 1955. Although we are separated in 1935, we were never divorced. My mother was Maria Picasso. Jose and Maria had 3 children, me and my 2 sisters. Jose created paintings of animals, but they did not earn him much money. At that time in Spain, animal paintings were not taken as seriously as paintings of people. Jose could not earn a living as an artist. My father was an art teacher, painter, art professor, and museum curator. He also taught me in art classes. My sisters and I always had something new to show Mother. After 3 years of teaching, my father finally agreed to let me attend art school, but I didn't like it there. My father wanted me to stay for a few more years. As I got older, I wanted to go to Paris, France. I asked my father and he agreed to let me go. I packed my bags and I liked it, so I tried to make a living by selling my art. I had little money. It was hard to make it, but eventually people started noticing me and I became famous. As you heard earlier, I mentioned Cubism. Now I'm going to get into more detail. Cubism involves making 3-dimensional Paul Sardine inspired me. Paul Sardine was my hero when I was a little kid. African masks and sculptures also inspired me. I use them as inspiration in many of my paintings, including a 1907 painting. My painting shows 5 women with geometric features. Thank you for listening and good night.
Here, girl. Okay, up next is Meryl Streep. She's got a light showing here too, though. We have to turn on it first to get the full effect. Got it? There we go. First. And we'll take these projects to Cuddy's here in a couple weeks, and they'll share them with a bunch of other area tag kids as well. Oh, that's his.
Hi, my name is Meryl Streep. I'm famous because of my acting and singing career. I have won a lot of awards. Some awards I received are a Kennedy Center honor, 32 Golden Globes, and 2 Academy Awards. I am the best female actor of my generation. I have been over 300 productions in my career. I was born on June 22nd, 1949, in Summit, New Jersey. I was raised by my father in Menardsville. When I was 12, I started singing lessons. During high school, I started acting in school plays. I attended Vassar College in New York and graduated in 1971. After that, I entered Yale University in Connecticut in 1971. After graduating, I moved to New York to pursue a professional acting career. My first ever big role was the Deer Hunter in 1978. This was a war-drama film. I impacted the field of acting by co-founding Mothers and Others for a Livable Planet in 1989. This organization is important because I raise awarenesses of pesticides being used on vegetables. I also use my name and voice to support various causes close to my heart. I'm extremely dedicated to anything I find passionate in. When I lend my voice to a film with an important message, it makes me feel great. I stay true to my passion for global growth education. This is important because in 2016, I saw problems in education for girls in Africa. Along with my background in acting, there are many other interesting facts about me. My father was a pharmaceutical company executive. My mother was a commercial artist. My real name is Mary Louise Streep. Something cool I did was co-narrate in the film Girl Rising. hope you learned a lot of facts about me.
So yeah, I'm very proud of what they have accomplished as third graders, typing up this much and turning information into first-person point of view typing and then timelines in third-person point of view and switching back and forth between that is very impressive. So I'm very proud of them, and they've got an invite to share with you to come and see our tag showcase. And you can see the rest of my third and fourth graders projects up on this day.
Thank you. Watch the cord there as you come around. There you go. Well, thank you for your time tonight. It's always nice to have these presentations, and we'll do our best to try to make these.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, nice job.
Yeah, nice job. You're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go. All right, Joe, I guess we'll go back to the superintendent's report.
Wanted to give a legislative update. It's certainly been a busy legislative session regarding education. House File 2612 was passed a few weeks ago, and Governor Reynolds signed that into law last Wednesday, or Wednesday the 27th. That law encompassed a whole bunch of things. It had our supplemental state aid, which set it at 2.5%. That equals 191 per pupil increase, which brings our state total up to a little over $7,800. Certainly advocating for over 3% is what we think as schools we need. But I think there were a lot of compromises in this bill to balance some of those financial pieces. One of those being it increased the minimum salary for all teachers to $47,500. It was $34,000, so over $13,000 increase in minimum salary. And then next year it will go to $50,000. It also increased salaries for not only first-year teachers, but teachers with at least 12 years experience to $60,000 for next year, and then $62,000 in year 2. 19 teachers in the Algona Community School District will see an increase to either $47,500 or $60,000 in year 1. That totals about $104,000, might be a little bit less than that as we've done some of the math on that this week. That increase is new money that we're receiving as part of a teacher salary supplement. So that's not money that we're negotiating with.
So the state has new funding for that to bring people?
They did. It's all new.
So that's a lump sum all at once then?
No, because TSS comes in per pupil amount, so they increase the per pupil amount to cover that, and it always stays there. It actually goes up every year with SSA. So they put it into the funding formula is what they did, which is a good thing, because one-time dollars for that only helps us for the 1 year. That's not what this is. This is increased in the TSS formula for every year. They'll do that again next year for the year 2. Our TSS increase, which stands for Teacher Salary Supplement, is going to give us an additional $200,000 last year. About half of that will be used to raise these minimum salaries. There's also $14 million that were allocated for support staff to increase hourly wages. We don't have a lot of guidance on number one, how it's going to be distributed to us or anything else, but that helps us. That helps us in working with our classified staff, which will have a recommendation for everyone who's not included in the master contract later on in the meeting. We're also in negotiations with our teacher associates, that will help create an appropriate raise for all of those people. House File 2612 also created a 1-month bona fide retirement. It's 4 months right now. So what that means is if a teacher retires in May, they basically can't go back to work in a NIPERS job for 4 full months. They reduced that to 1 month. That's a big deal in schools because retired teachers can come right back and work in September or August, which they couldn't before. So that is an attempt to work on the teacher shortage. And it's not a permanent solution, but it is a solution that certainly will benefit rural Iowa for sure. The final part, House File 2612, is the AEA summary, which certainly has got a lot of publicity. It's been in the news a lot. The changes to the AEA are in special education funds. There are no changes for next year. The following year, 90% of the special ed flow-through dollars will continue to flow through to the AEA, but districts will receive 10% that must be used on special education, so that's a change. Another change is in ed services and media service funds. In year one, 60% will go to the districts and 40% to the AEAs, and in year two, all of those dollars will go to the districts. That's about $250,000 between ed services and media services for our district. In year one, we'll get about 130. In year two, we'll get all 250. Now, many of those dollars will certainly have to be spent towards both ed and media. We don't use a lot of media. We don't use a lot of ed services, but some will still be used in that way. There's some other changes as part of the AEAs that districts will receive quarterly reports from the AEA in regard to the services that we get and how much that they cost. The AEA boards are now advisory, which is different than how they operate now. The AEA chief administrator's salaries will be capped at 125% of the average superintendent wage in their AEA. There'll be Department of Education oversight, which there'll be 62 new staff positions in Des Moines and throughout the state, and there'll be a task force that's put together to study this more in-depthly and report back to the legislative next January in that session. So a lot of changes. Certainly, I think things that benefit us. We always advocate for as high as supplemental state aid as we can. I think choice in some of our AEA dollars is a positive thing for our district. So things that we can use in a number of different ways.
Any questions? All right, we'll then move on to old business, where we start with second reading of the policies.
Second reading, went through some of these last year. The first is 50202, the care of school property and vandalism. This policy does not need any changes. It currently matches the Iowa Association of School Board policy. The second policy is 50203, student expression and student publications code. There's 4 paragraphs that are part of the IASB model that will be added to this policy to represent the current status of students' First Amendment rights. 50203 Regulation 1, student expression and student publication. We need to add violate lawful school regulations to that. 50204, student complaints and grievances. We will add language to include the number of days a student has to bring a complaint to the principal or superintendent. And 50205, student lockers. There's no changes to this policy as it does match the current IASB policy.
We kind of briefly went over those last month also. Anybody
Yep.
have questions? If not, we do need a motion then to approve the second readings here of the board policies.
So moved.
Thank you, Todd. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brent. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
One question on the number of days we're adding under the student complaints. I'm gonna guess too, we've got a number of days in many other sections. Anyway, doesn't really call out unless I missed it, whether it's number of school days or just number of calendar days.
I think calendar is how that is, but we can spell that out for sure. But I think that is the intent, is for it to be calendar days.
Calendar days.
Might be good then. Spell that out. So, All right, any other questions? Hearing none then, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Readings approved. And then we have first readings going in after that, I
Yep.
believe.
First readings for April involve 5026 weapons. It is a mandatory policy, and our current policy aligns, so no changes will be recommended. 5028 search and seizure. Our current policy also aligns, so no changes will be recommended, as well as 5028E and R1. No changes recommended. 5029, interviews of students by outside agencies. Our current policy aligns with the recommendation, and no changes are recommended. And 50210, the use of motor vehicles, our policy also aligns with, so no changes will be recommended for any of those in the second reading next month.
Okay. Any questions before we move on? Please review those, and we'll kind of review them again next month.
The waiver on the bottom of weapons. It says note that we may authorize individuals, that's for like shooting sports and things like that.
It is.
They
It could also.
Trap shooting guns and they're locked in the vehicle.
Yeah, I think our coaches will recommend different ways for them to do that, but that is, they can come and get clearance for that, and that's what that waiver's for.
Okay.
There could also be even some law enforcement or military who could request the same type of.
Okay.
Joe, one other question. Because we get some of these, or, you know, policies that are kind of outlined for us. So my question is on like the automobile searches and maybe some of the other policies. Are these checks against like laws as well? So
Yep.
the search and seizure is in line with
Yep.
the legal?
So what we do is we are members of the Iowa Association School Boards, and they have all of these policies, and their lawyers do all of that legal
all checked
work.
out.
So we look at our policy and how it aligns with the Iowa Association School Board policy. If there's changes, typically, I recommend those changes to you. If it's the same, then I say that, I let you guys know that it's the same as the recommended one. That's why oftentimes in June and July, we will do a number of policy changes as law changes, from legislation, and then they actually send us, they being the Iowa Association of School Boards, sends us policy changes that need to happen because law has changed.
Perfect.
Good question.
All right, again, we'll come back to these in May. So, moving to the next item, we're looking to approve the budgets. We've had multiple hearings on it.
We have. We've talked about this a lot. You guys are experts on this. Again, there's two things that we certify as part of this process. The one is total expenditures, how much money we can spend for next year in the areas of instruction, total support, non-instruction, and other. Our other for this year is very, very high because of the field house project. So there's extra dollars in there. You know, it's over 15 million for other expenditures this year. So our total expenditures will be 45,703,000. The other thing that we certify is our total tax rate. Again, many of you probably received a mailing that had in it our tax rate of 1002, and you'll see on the I have it highlighted in blue as well. If you take all of our taxable land and all of our our people, you divide those things, 1002 is what you come up with. But in our case, in our district, no one will have a 1002 tax rate. And that's because of reorganization. So the people of the former Algona will have a tax rate of 997. 997,607 is slightly less than last year, but 997. 963 in Laverne and 1131 in Titanca. And again, the difference between these three rates in Algona and Laverne are in the uniform rate, which is $5.40 uniformly across the state, except for in Algona and Laverne because of reorganization. And the difference between Algona and Titanca is this debt service of $1.34 from a general obligation bond that they had prior to reorganization. That will expire in 2027. And then those, we won't have three, actually by then we'll have one. You know, next year we'll have three again, then we'll go to two, and then we'll have one.
It's a small number, but why do we have instructor support state aid for the first time? $21,000.
Oh,
It's about line number 9 in that area, 9, maybe line 11.
line 11, instructional support state aid.
The 21,000.
21,000. It's not a large number, but it's curious.
Yeah,
We've been getting it, I don't know why it's not in the prior year.
I don't either.
yeah, I think that would be the mistake is here. This would be typical.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a lot.
Good catch.
I don't know if they just broke it out different now on the one.
It might have, it just struck me strange that
Yeah.
it's,
Okay, any other questions?
I mentioned the total other, that shows up right here. I highlighted that, our other is over, over 15 million, almost 16 million for FY25. That's because of the building project. You'll see that it's not in those other areas.
All right, if we have no further questions, we need a motion then to approve our 2024-2025 budget.
So moved.
Thank you, Andrew. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Lynn. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Budget approved. We're also then looking to approve a guarantee budget.
Yeah.
Budget guarantee, sorry.
It's best practice to always pass the budget guarantee in case the district would not have any new money due to declining enrollment. We actually are on budget guarantee. It's a little bit different with reorganization, and we have new certified money from the prior year, but our number of kids from the previous year to this year is less. So we will be on the budget guarantee for next year and the following year. It is a roll call vote, and green is the actual resolution, which is the same as what is also on the screen.
So we need a motion to approve the resolution as written, and somebody would need to read it.
Yes.
I would be resolved that the Board of Directors of the Algona Community School District will levy property taxes for fiscal year 2024-2025 for the regular program budget adjustment allowed under section 257.14 Code of Iowa.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Lisa, if you want to do a roll call?
Davis,
Yes.
Limbaugh,
Yes.
Mawaji,
Yep.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nugent,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Benzie.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's good that we're already looking at a tentative agreement here, so.
Yeah.
That's good news.
So Rodney worked with me with our teachers, and we have come to a tentative agreement. The tentative agreement between the Algona Area Algona Association of Educators and the Algona Community School District is that we will add $7,373 to each amount in our base wages, which is shown on the screen right there. So we're increasing our base wages to equal the minimums that the state has now increased, is what we're doing there. That is important, because if we didn't do that, we would have people with a master's, for example, who aren't at the minimum. So we have to increase that, and there's about 8 people whose salary will go up slightly because of that. We are also adding $2,000 to the extra duty base wage. Our coaching contracts, all of our supplementary contracts are generated as a percent of this base wage, which is not the same as any of those base wages on the screen. So we add to that every year, so those contracts increase as well. We are also looking to add $2,500 increase for all teachers. We're looking to increase the supplementary salary schedule of yearbook to 8%, 9%, and 10%. There's always 3 years in there. And also increase the supplementary salary schedule of student senate to 8, 9, and 10%. In the section of the master contract 3.4 pay periods, we are eliminating the sentence, July and August pay warrants shall be distributed on June 20th, because we distribute those bi-monthly on the 5th and 20th, as we do throughout the year. In section 3.8, eliminate the last sentence that these deductions will be entered in the computer on August 15th and December 15th. And I did skip this right here. Section 4.3, personal illness. Employees hired from another school district may bring in an accumulation of 75 sick days.
Is that one gonna go retroactively, like if we hired somebody a year or two ago, they'd be able to?
It is not retroactive. It'll
Okay.
be people we hire from
Okay,
here.
moving forward.
This is the duration of this contract is 5 years that was reopened every year for negotiated terms and wages.
Joe, for the folks that are gonna be getting an increase due to the new legislation, will the 2,500 be on top of that?
It is.
Okay.
And a couple of reasons for that. One, the main one being, if we didn't do that, the people we hire and the people in years 2, 3, and 4 would all be at the same wage.
And then on the second piece of that legislation around the 60,000, I think it was 12 years experience?
Yep.
How does that play in, or does it?
It does. So people who have 12 years experience, they'll get an increase that takes them to 60,000, and then they get the 2,500 on top. 2,500 is on top for everyone.
Yeah, so I'm talking about like kind of in our schedule, or does that not play into that?
Doesn't really play into the schedule.
Okay.
We just have some people who, you know, regardless of where they are on the schedule, but they've worked 12 years and they're not at 60. So the new TSS amounts will get them to 60, and then they'll have 2,500 on top of that.
Is our, I think I heard you, our new TSS we're getting because of this is adequate to cover the
It is.
increases?
Yep. Our new TSS equals $200,000. Our increases to 47.5 and 60 equal about $100,000.
Okay.
Our increase to move this base wage equals about $30,000. So all of those are paid for. And then our new money, which we have mostly from reorganization, because our certified number increased, not incentive dollars, because we don't want to use those for salaries, but because our certified number increased is how we are providing the $2,500 increase.
And that $2,500 is a nice incentive for filling the high school English position, perhaps?
We hope so.
Okay.
And that is a position that still is open. And we don't have a candidate currently.
So if we hire somebody next year with a bachelor's and 16 years experience, will they start at 51?
Yep, 51,061.
60.
Okay, so not at 60,
With how many?
With 12 years of experience?
16 years experience.
Oh, 16 years experience?
That's 16, that's actually 16.
This is a bachelor's
Plus
degree
16.
plus 16 other hours.
Hours,
Okay,
yeah, not
I
experience,
apologize. I
yeah.
was thinking it was years.
So this
That's where I was, okay.
right
That
here,
makes sense.
good questions. So we can explain these. These are minimums. So if we hire, we'll say someone with no experience and they have a bachelor's degree, it would be at 47.5. If we have someone with no experience and a bachelor's in 51,958, which that would be a unique situation, it would be 51,958. What this means is if you have a bachelor's degree in 24 more hours and you work for us, this is the lowest number you could make.
Perfect. I was thinking those numbers up there were.
Years.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So that makes sense. Okay.
But if you would hire somebody and they come in with 12 or more than 12 years, then they'd automatically make 60, right?
They would.
Yeah.
Yes, and what we try to do, Todd, in that case, is we try to find someone who's worked for us with 12 years, and that's what we offer. In that case, they would already be over that. That 60 and 62 did not impact very many of our teachers. Our teachers who have that years of experience, we're making more than that.
And as we talked, this has also been part of the Forecast 5 down.
It is.
So
You know,
we're still looking.
all of the forecasting that I've done for you guys, and we've worked throughout the year, that is with a 4% increase in salary, which this is. That is with a 2.5% SSA. You know, we've adjusted for that. It's also moving forward with only a 2% SSA, which I certainly hope it's more than that, but that's how we build our forecast. And our wage increases are not at 4% moving ahead. I think they're at 3 is where they're at with those, the years coming forward.
All right, any more questions? Good questions, so we can make sure everybody understands it completely.
We need to approve this.
Yes,
right?
we need to then, the Algona Associations of Educators have already approved this on their end.
I make
So-
a motion to approve the negotiations with teachers.
Thank you, Andy. Andrea, do we have a second?
I will second that.
Thanks, Lanny. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Contract's approved, I guess, tentative agreement. Looking then to approve wages for not covered staff,
Yep.
staff not covered under grant 4%.
We have two associations in our district. We have the Algona Association of Educators, and then we have our teacher associates are also organized together. This would be for everyone else who isn't in those two groups. I will recommend a 4% increase for those. So this would include building principals and administration, Jared Cecil, James Roeder, Jill Schucher, Brad Sudol, Janie Eischen, and John Heischer. It would also include Lisa Chapman, Jed Freeberg, Tyler Lighting, Merrill Mueller, Jeff Gish, Jill Nelson, all custodians and all food service who are still employed by the Algona Community School District, all bus drivers, and all secretaries and employees on the Mitchell system, Danelle Van Gorkum, Stephanie Keeker, Megan Tuttle, Aaron Keeker, Vicki Steenhook, Maria Bradley, Laura Severson, McKay Schucher, Karen Sankey, and Liz Bradley. 4% aligns with the teacher salary increase that we just went through with that group that they ratified, and also aligns with where we hope to end up with the teacher associates.
Questions or thoughts?
I think this year it might be all right, but I think when we're getting 2.5% increase, we might want to be careful with some of the rates of far higher. Our employees that are at the upper ends of some of our contracts.
Yeah, I agree with you
And
completely.
maybe separating them out with,
Yeah.
with some of the other hourly staff, because if we're only getting 2.5% and we're raising it 4%, we can get in a bind.
For sure, Jay, and I think our situation this year is unique because of reorganization. Otherwise, a 2.5% increase would be very, very difficult to sustain 4% salary increases. So this year's a little bit different because our certified number went up 104 kids. So those are ongoing dollars that allow us to do this in this year. But I think you're exactly right. 2.5% SSA increase changes things for us drastically moving forward.
Because it does compound
It does.
over
Yeah.
year after year.
Yes, it would. Any other thoughts or questions?
And TAs are not part of this.
No, we have not come to an agreement with our associates, our teacher associates yet.
They have their own.
We're hopeful, I've had some pre-negotiation meetings with them, hopeful to have an agreement at our special meeting on April 22nd. If not, we would have to go to our May meeting, which puts our timeline with them really, really short, so we'd rather do it at the April meeting.
All right, if there's no more discussion or questions, then we need to motion in to recommend the 4% increase for all other employees not covered by master contract.
So moved.
Thank you, Lanny. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Andrea. We do have a motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Master contract for non-covered employees approved. And we do have one other salary that wage we want to talk about
Yep,
separately.
Rudy Week, our assistant middle school principal's salary currently is too low, and that's using comparisons of 10 up, 10 down in the state, so the schools most like us in enrollment, and it's also using the North Central Conference that we are part of as comparables. In the 10 up, 10 down, he would be in the bottom 10% of the state for a like position. A $10,000 increase puts him more in line. This sometimes happens on entry-level positions, entry-level administrative positions. And people who continue to work for us, like Mr. Week, we would like to also increase his responsibilities to include restorative practice coordinator for the entire district and not just the middle school. So I do recommend a 10% or 10,000 increase for Mr. Week for next year.
This was a new position created when he arrived, right?
Correct.
And we foresee him staying a while in the district, right?
Yeah, we're hopeful, yeah.
Yeah.
Where does this put him with the increase percentage-wise, in the middle? The low end?
No, I think he moves to the middle, to the upper half. I think we're certainly in line where he would land with this, and where our other administrators land in those comparisons.
And what is his summer requirements then?
He is on a 210-day contract,
Okay.
which is the same as Jill Schucher and Brad Sudol.
Okay.
So that's roughly week and a half before and after school. Mr. Rodert and Mr. Cecil's contracts are 220, and mine's a 260.
And this is just, not above, not the 4% on top of this.
Nope.
This would just be,
Nope.
yeah, a separate one.
Also make the motion to add $10,000 to associate principal's salary.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brett. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Do you think that's been a
Salary
valuable
approved.
position for the middle school?
Agreed.
Very
Oh,
much
yeah.
so,
It's
very
been
much so.
Very helpful. We do show approve the bus bids, but I think I remember you saying we don't quite have.
We didn't receive the bids that we needed to bring those to you, so.
Do we need to table that a motion then?
I took
It's
it
on
off
here?
the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, you've taken it off. Good, thank
Yeah.
you. It's just, I was looking right here. Oh, yeah, you did. All right, we'll look at approve the Iowa Lakes Career Connect Academy agreements.
We have 3 different agreements with Iowa Lakes. The first is for nurse aid that they provide for $17,084. The second, and on the back page is where the budgets are if you're looking for any of those, is for automotive technology, $36,991. And the third, broadcasting, is for $141,830.
Are we still doing a pretty good job billing for like broadcasting to make some, back up there? Do they do that a little bit? The different things we film?
There's not a lot of that.
Not a lot? Okay.
They do a lot of other things, for
Yeah.
sure, for the community, the school,
I'm just thinking like city, when they come to do
the
that.
city,
Do we bill for that?
Service.
Public
Some of
service?
it's
However that
service.
works, I just wondered.
Yeah. No.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
How many kids do we have taking advantage of these various programs currently?
Yeah, nurse aid can probably range from 0 to 5, how many kids who do that. That's provided before school currently. Automotive technology, he's probably anywhere from 12 to 20 in that program. Broadcasting, probably up to 10 to 12 in that program. These are programs, they certainly come with an expense. We're lucky to have them. These are college programs that take place in our walls. Without them being here, if you were a kid who went to Algona High School, you wouldn't have the opportunity to be in automotive or to be broadcasting. These are a little bit different in some of the buildings and trades, for example, or taking Western Civ, and that these are taught by employees of Iowa Lakes, and then we have a contract with Iowa Lakes. Now, some of our teachers also teach college level courses. Those are different agreements.
Well, part of the reason why I asked, Joe, is on the automotive side, I mean, and the trades in general, right? I mean, and there's a growing need for it.
Yep.
And do we need to invest more in something like that?
It's something we've talked about, right? So I went to work with Carrie Hampy over the last 3 or 4 months. She emailed me today that they are going to start a career academy in Algona that includes business, education, engineering, technology, and patient care. So I'm sure there will be some cost that comes with that, but I'm very excited that, so we have an expanded career academy that's coming to Algona to partner with Algona Community School District, and probably the West Bend School District and Garrigan as well as part of that career academy. So I think more to come in those areas, like we've talked about, how I think it's so important not only that our kids leave here with a skill or the ability to get a skill, but that even their time here is working towards those certifications that can help them.
I just think, I imagine that each year that number can change wildly. Like if one kid's in nurse's aid and then her friends are like, oh, it's like we're all gonna do it then.
Yeah.
Or like automotive, some years there's a lot of kids and some years there's not as many, or?
Yeah, of these three, I think automotive is probably our most consistent number. And part of it's also, it's a 2-year program. Broadcasting can fluctuate, nurse aid can fluctuate. I'm sure at that cost, she could take up to probably 15 at the same cost. But the cost to have the class is that, no different than automotive and broadcasting. But you're right, they do vary. I do think automotive probably is our most consistent of these three.
And is Tim, the automotive, is he just here half a day, or is he here the full day?
Full day.
Okay.
Half of the day is this program. The other half he's teaching some things for us.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how does he get automotive 1 and 2 in
Yeah.
in half a day if
And it
he's?
started as half a day. This was before me, but that's what I was told. It started as a half a day, and our number of kids was more than a half a day, so we pick up the other half.
Okay, gotcha.
I make a motion to approve the agreements with Iowa Lakes.
Thank you, the Career Academy, appreciate it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Todd. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Let's make sure on the contract for the nurse that we correct line 4 for the appropriate fiscal year, 24-25 school year.
Right here.
Let's make that correction.
Good catch, Tom, thank you. All right, with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll just say agreement's approved. Get the rest out. All right, looking at community foundation members.
This is an annual appointment by our Board of Education. This appointment takes place because the Algona Community School Foundation is not a private foundation, so they must have a certain number of foundation board members who are appointed by our Board of Education, as we are a supporting public organization. So this helps ensures that the foundation would never operate in a way that the Algonah Community School District didn't support. The foundation members that we are approving are Morgan Keeker, Bill Farnham, Jeff Knapp, Liz Stillwater, and Kirk Hayes.
Kind of our annual appointments, so.
Yep.
Yep.
Make the motion to approve this foundation representatives.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have a second?
Second motion.
Thank you, Tom. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
On these appointments, is there kind of like a rotating term to
Yep.
get people on, off? I mean, or is it?
There is terms, and they're rotating typically, because I serve on the foundation board as well, as does Jared Cecil. Our terms don't.
You understand, I
But
understand.
those other ones, they do have terms, and if they're willing to renew, they do.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A representative's approved. You'll have something in front of you about the current Laverne audit comments.
Yeah, we need to approve the audit for the Laverne Community School District for FY '23. There's a document, it's on the screen, that has some of the following comments. Internal control deficiencies found would be segregation of duties, which we often had before until we restructured our office, and the preparation of financial statements. Other findings related to the statutory reporting are expenditures for 22-23 exceeded the budget amount in the support service function. Second is the board minutes. One disbursement requiring board approval was not approved by the board. The certified enrollment, the number of students reported on certified enrollment was overstated by 3. Fourth, deficit balance in the school nutrition fund, there was a negative balance, and that the elementary booster club was using the district's federal identification number. So we need to approve these audits. All the response indicate the corrections will be made, but there isn't a district now, so they've been corrected.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
A second.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks, Jade. Any further comment? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Audit approved. All right, then we'll, looking at open enrollment.
Yeah, we actually have 3 open enrollments that have all met the guidelines for approval.
Make a motion to approve open enrollment.
Thank you. Andrew, do you have a second?
Second motion.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve open enrollments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Open enrollment's approved. At this point, we're going to go into closed session.
Should we do the resignations and contracts?
Yeah, we can do the
Do
2.
you want to do it? I'm just following how we had it
Yeah.
listed.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that quick then too. Everybody has the resignations in front of you then.
Yep, we have 3 resignations. Lily Hu, middle school teacher associate, Joe Ingles, middle school social studies, and Angie Cook from the food service.
All right.
Is Mr. Ingles leaving the district?
He has got a job near the cities.
Yep. All right, we need a motion then to approve the resignations.
So moved.
Thanks, Todd. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Lanny. Motion and a second to approve resignations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resignations approved. Moving now into the contracts.
Contracts, Tiffany Petty, Bertha Godfrey, teacher associate, Chelsea Germer, 4th grade teacher, Morgan Johnson, middle school teacher associate, Leah Schoen, 1st grade, Abby Didering, 3rd grade, Kayla Islander, 3rd grade.
Does that fill all of our elementary with some of the switching and some of the adding?
Yep.
Elementary.
Elementary is all full.
It's all full.
We have the high school English open, and then we have the middle school social studies.
Yeah. Okay.
First year teachers on those 4?
Chelsea is not. Chelsea has 9 years of experience moving to the community. Leah, Abby, and Kayla are all first year teachers.
All right. Need a motion then to approve the contracts.
I do a motion to approve the contracts.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Andrea. Motion and a second to approve the contracts. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Contracts approved.
Welcome to the
Now
district.
we will look to move into closed session for progress review. let me see here, yeah.
A motion to go into closed session for progress performance review.
I'll second that.
Good. We need a roll call for that, I believe.